Hello, I'm Evan, the CBS-RLT. We're going to do an experimental podcast. We haven't done this before. And the idea is just to share some things that that we might not put out in an email, but we probably say face-to-face to you. So we want to keep it really conversational. And so we're just something that we're trying experimental. It may be good, may kind of stink at first because I don't really know what I'm doing. So the very
It's gonna
first
be amazing. Come on, Evan. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm just trying to set expectations. If it's amazing, that'll be a surprise for me too. So just today, I'm gonna speak with my colleague Kalli and Binkowski, and we work together. If you know this or not, I'm not sure, but we work together, and we don't get to see each other physically very often anymore, but we do Zoom all the time and do emails all the time. But Kalli, thank you for being on the first big experiment here.
Woohoo! Always happy to be an experimental subject.
Yeah, how's your semester starting?
It was really busy the last 2 weeks. We've had, for me, a lot of it has been getting the computers reset for the new semester. OIT has been helping us with that, and I think we came in just under the deadline and the computers are all ready now.
Okay, for the people that don't know, which computers are you talking about?
Oh, we have some, what we're calling them is supplementary classroom computers. They are available in Brunix. We have a set on the first floor and a set on the third floor. We also have what we're calling the mobile case. It's literally a piece of airline luggage that holds 6 computers in it. Right now it has 5. These are meant to be to encourage instructors to use technology in the classroom and feel like they're not preventing some students from doing the work because those students may not have a laptop they can bring to class. These are available for those students, or if there's laptop issues. A lot of our instructors are now also pursuing in-class computerized testing. Sure. So these are also available for those times. So we've got a scheduling process and the rest of that. If you saw our semester startup tech email, there is a Google form in there for you to fill out so you can learn all about it and get yourself registered. We've had quite a bit of, maybe 5-6 classes signed up to use those computers already.
Sure. And the real difference from this semester is that there used to be 2 big carts, right, with full of computers, and now it is smaller systems, smaller groupings that can be reserved for people, right? Oh,
yes. And I forgot one. There's a set in MCB. The idea here is most of these sets are not meant to go outside of buildings. So the one in MCB can be an MCB in attached buildings. The Brunix one is Brunix only. And that's why we picked up the mobile case. That one could go anywhere because it's capable of going outside. Yeah, and we're trying to make it more accessible. It used to be sort of this hidden thing that instructors in Brunix knew about. Sure. Mostly our BTL department used them, but we've got more people doing computerized testing. More people trying or using technology in the classroom after COVID, that it's we want to make sure everybody knows these things are available. So this is one of the first years since I've been here where we let every instructor know that these were available if they felt they would have a use for them.
Right. So a lot of students bring computers to the class already, right? So these are just kind of supplemental to filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
So would you say that most professors probably reserve only like 5 to 10, maybe a certain percentage of their student audience?
Oh, absolutely. So, 5 years ago, even, well, let's make it a little longer. It's more than 5 years ago. Not every student actually had a computer or a device that they were bringing to class, but between smartphones and laptops, most students now have computers and don't need these. So they really are meant to be supplemental. The Brunix set has been around for probably a decade, if not longer. I don't mean the actual computers. We do use them on a cycle, but they've been available. And it used to be, we used to have 40 computers on both floors. And right now, I think there's 16 on the third floor and 10 on the first floor. And what we've heard from instructors is the typical usage is at most 4 or 6 students actually need the computers. We have one instructor that's using maybe 10 because she wants to use one per group, but it's yeah, it's not much of a need anymore.
Okay, I hear Grizz back there. Hi, Grizz.
Yeah, that's my doggie. She's looking out the front door and somebody must be walking by. I have a neighbor that jogs by every day at like twice a
Oh,
week.
yeah, you gotta bark at the joggers.
Gotta
I
bark
mean,
at the
they're
joggers.
suspicious. So
Yes, yes. Or she just wants them to come up and say hello because she likes them.
sure. I was gonna add, I was gonna mention our ticket system, TDX. I mean, I think people are familiar with TDX, but we were just talking this morning that people like to email us individually. But we were going to try to promote that we'd like people to email the one email that gets to both of us and goes straight into the ticket system to help us, track things a little bit better. And then one day you're gone and one day I'm gone. We both see the tickets. We're able to pick it up and handle that sort of thing. And then also our boss can see what we're doing too, because he gets a copy of what's going on that way. So I was just going to mention that the email address, I don't know if people want to write it down, or maybe I can put it on the screen, but it's CBS-RLT@umn.edu. And I just want to stress that doesn't go to the help desk. It doesn't go to the general help desk for the university, or that sort of thing. It comes to Kalli and it comes to me, and we deal with it then. So emailing that email address is like emailing us. So
it would be especially important, like around these crunch times. Like my email has been very full over the last week or two. And there have been some times when I have needed to not deal with my emails because I have to get done some of the things everybody has been requesting us to do. And I've had my emails sit there for a day without touching them. So by emailing CBS-RLT, what you get is it comes to both of us, and whichever of us is available sooner can grab it and deal with it. And if you ever have like specific questions for just one of us, you can just address the email to us, even though you're sending it to CBS-RLT, because you don't know if I'm out or if I have meetings all day. That has happened to me too. Especially, like I was saying, I was setting up all these computers. I was out physically at some of these computers for like half the day and not dealing with my emails. So if you had sent it to CBS-RLT, you might have gotten a faster response.
Right. And what people might not know is that if it's generically, if you don't say, I want to ask Kalli this, I'll probably answer it unless I think that Kalli is more the expertise on this area. Then I'll be like, Kalli, could you get this one? I usually take the first look at those tickets. So. It's kind of how
and Evan has a lot of expertise in all the video stuff. Like I do not take Kaltura anymore because I just don't do that very well. No. So yeah. And I think it's see, now I've lost my train of thought, but it's important to know that we've been using TDX all along. If you've been emailing us individually, we have been taking those emails and putting them into TDX. I think, Evan, you usually put it in after you finish all the emails back and forth. I usually dump it in right away. So you'll see a message from me saying, I'm moving this to our ticketing system. And then we reply back and forth there. If you start it off in TDX, all that information can just kind of stay in there. Makes it really easy for us too to go back and see, like we can go look up answers we've given to others for the same kind of response. It can make it a little easier on us as well.
Right, totally agreed. And also another thing that TDX does for us is it nags us. It tells us to get to work on each ticket. We can't let it sit. Otherwise it keeps sending us emails and like, you got to get to this, you got to get to this. So it's a good thing for us.
Yeah, my favorite tool on TDX is I can set it to pending response. So when you do respond to me, then it reopens the ticket and I'm told like right then that you got the response. I love putting things on hold. So I've responded to you, I've given you an answer, but I'm not sure if you're going to write me back. I sometimes put things on hold, or if I can't deal with it right away and I'm like, hey, I'm going to get to this Friday, I'll wake the ticket up on Friday. So it will remind me to do. So it's just a really great way for us to manage that work and not lose you. Because it does happen at this time of year. We usually miss one ticket. I don't think I found one I've lost yet this semester, but it'll happen.
yeah. It's bound to happen in emails. I mean, emails somehow they're like the sock in the dryer. Somehow one disappears.
Every semester I lose one. Yes, absolutely true.
Is there anything else for the start of this semester that you can think of right now? I want to keep this kind of short, but you got any other valuable little nuggets of information?
We've had a few questions recently about using Zoom in classroom live while you're teaching. That's high flex. And Evan and I both know this is like the hardest way to do it.
Right.
I just want to say first that, gosh, the professors out there, you guys have been working so hard at providing options for students as they've been out with absences. And it has been wearing on you. I have seen it. And you guys are doing an amazing job of stepping up to give students what they can to try and be successful as we work through all of this. But there was one thing I wanted to share. I'm going to share my screen really quick.
Sure.
Around that. I haven't actually watched this one all the way through, but it seems to have some of the information you would need to do that Zoom in class live. It's called Room and Zoom, Teaching in a Blended Environment. So this came to us from ATSS. Their people did a workshop. So this is like a 1-hour recording, but it really goes through like how to identify what resources you have in your room, and then how to prepare yourself to use them, and also like some things you got to keep an eye on. I mean, the hardest thing about HyFlex is the sound quality is not going to be stunning unless your room has some special tools. I think for me, the one thing I would recommend is make sure you use the room microphone, because then even if you're not in front of your computer, it will pick up the ambient microphone sound amplification in the room. That was
does this page that you have there, does this show people how to add the room microphone?
I believe it does. Yes. So, by the way, all I did here was go to Training Hub and I searched for Room and Zoom and I found this. And then what you would do, you can see there was a live class, but it's already passed. You can enroll in the course online here. And when you, so what's cool is you can mark that you've actually completed this and watched everything. I'll just show this quick because it's a little confusing. Remember, we're using Room and Zoom. You go to Launch Online Content. And what you're getting is a playlist of every workshop they've ever had. So you just have to go look for Room and Zoom. See, here it is. So this is the video you want to watch. And then once you watch it, if you go back into Training Hub, you can mark it as complete and it'll show on your record that you've done some training. It's only an hour, but honestly, I scanned through parts of it. It looked really informational. I think if you are just trying to do this, there might be some really good tips and tricks in there.
Sure. I wasn't going to get really technical, but do you think maybe we could mention a couple of the things that makes Zooming in the classroom? You mentioned the microphone, the class microphone, and I'll just mention many classrooms. I don't know if yours does, but there's classrooms. Is it classrooms.edu, or do you know the URL for that?
Where to look stuff up?
Yeah, what the classroom has.
Okay, you keep talking. I'll go see.
Okay, well, she does that. Most classrooms have a red USB cable in there. And if you are able to hook that up to your laptop, when you go into Zoom and by your microphone on Zoom, see, this is where I'm afraid to get too technical. There's a little arrow, and then you can select which microphone you want to use. And the room will have its own microphone listed there. And it may be something that's fairly generic, but it'll show up there, and it won't be there previously. So if you look at what's available before you hook into the red USB, it could be helpful. So, and then the microphone in the classroom will actually go directly into your computer, so you have cleaner audio even though you walk around the classroom.
Yeah. Yep. I am not finding it, but I know they talk about it in that video. It's one of the first things they talk about is how to look up which room you're in and what sorts of resources are available in that room.
Sure. How about, you've mentioned before too, that the best way to share your computer when you're Zooming in a classroom.
Oh, okay. So this is where it gets a little technically difficult. If you're not super computer savvy, you're going to share the screen on your computer to the Zoom so that they can see the PowerPoint you're sharing. And you also need to share it up to the projector, which you're probably gonna, most people mirror. So what they see on the desktop in their computer is exactly what people see up above on the projector in the classroom. Right. So it's like you have to have both of those things going simultaneously, and all students will see is whatever is in front of the computer camera. If you're walking by, they'll just see you walk by. They'll see the PowerPoint you're sharing. They won't see anything you write on the board. Even if you have your computer aimed at it, the quality is not going to be stunning. They're not going to really easily see what's on the board. That's a challenge. And as you walk past the microphone, if you haven't set up to use the microphone in the classroom or it's not available. When you walk past the microphone or you turn to face the board, the people on Zoom won't hear you, which is why you really need to use the amplification in the classroom. So there's more,
Right.
Your voice is more of an ambient sound versus directional at your computer. And then just remember when you're done, it'll be a recording. If you're setting it up on Zoom, you could do it through the Canvas integration. There's information out there on how to do that. If it's using the Canvas integration, the recording is there. You just got to publish it to make it available for students. It does disappear off Zoom. If you're thinking of using these in the future, don't forget to download them and put them in Kaltura, and you can share them through Kaltura too if you want to.
And if you want any help with any of that, we can find the instructions and send them to you, or walk you through it. I think the other things that if you're going to do a Zoom live during classroom is to practice and set your expectations. It's going to be bumpy at first because and tell your students it's going to be bumpy, and then you're going to have to decide up front is like, is this something that you want your students to interact back with you, or are you just sending out your lecture this way, or you know, are you going to have students interact with you? If you do that, you're going to have to come up with some protocols that work for you. I mean, are you going to pause every, you know, so many minutes, ask for questions, and then be purposeful to ask people online if they have questions, because people online tend to fade into the virtual woodwork.
It's really hard for people online to interact in the same way as they did before. I mean, if you have a really active learning classroom with a lot of interaction, you might want to see if you can have one of your TAs actually in the classroom on Zoom, participating with the students on Zoom, if there are many of them, or you can just use Zoom to record. You know, you don't even have to have students in it. You can just use Zoom to record in your classroom. But again, these aren't the highest quality recordings. High flex. This is where you're in the classroom, teaching live to students and teaching live to students that are also at home. This is like the hardest thing to swing well. And yes, bumpy is true. I highly recommend you tell your students. A lot of instructors are hesitant to let students know that there might be glitches in the technology, but I think students are much more forgiving if you let them know up front you're trying this for the first time, so that they can give you a moment or two of grace. They will want you to figure it out eventually. But you know, they'll give you the time. You should also know there are people you can contact. If you contact CBS-RLT, remember, email us there. We can put you in touch with people who can actually meet you in the classroom if it's really not working.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I was going to mention too, that I've told one person who works anyway, is that if you know you're not going to do student interactions during class, you can just use Screencast-O-Matic and record it live and then post it quicker to Kaltura that way. It's just easier than downloading it from Zoom, then uploading it to Kaltura, then finally posting it in Canvas. It's taking one step out, and then you have some editing abilities in Screencast-O-Matic, and that I'm throwing out these words, but these are all things that if you have questions about, you can Google out the UMN website, and there's lots of information, or ask us. And email the email that we're trying to promote your CBS.
Screencast-O-Matic is really easy.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of setup, but it's really not that bad. And a lot of our instructors has moved from like just straight up recording to using that because they like to be able to edit just a little bit before they finish them up.
Right. Just the annotations, the arrows and the circles, and putting in a word.
I forgot to do this.
Or else taking a bumpy part and just deleting that portion. I mean, or trimming off the front or the back. You know, it's very, very nice. And then you have it on your computer already, then uploading it to Kaltura is very easy.
Yeah. I would like to end with one thing though. A lot of people are still very tired. I mean, we're all still stressing out about this. We know there's going to be a lot of absences. There is a lot you are already taking on. I would highly recommend that you take on as little new stuff as you have to. Like if you need to learn to do this because you're going to have a lot of students out and it's important they stay caught up and this is how you want to do it, go for it. But if this is just sort of a fun thing, reach out to us in the summer and you can play when it's maybe a little more relaxed or slow, or you can try it next fall when hopefully things will be even closer to normal. Don't overload yourselves. We know you are working really, really hard. And we're just hoping these little blurbs will give you some information along the way that might be timely.
Right. So with that too, if you have any specific contents that you, or conversations that you would like us to share, or specific topics, I guess is the word I'm looking for, go ahead and mention that to us. If you'd like to be on this and have a conversation with Kalli or myself, that would be fun too. So this is just something that we're trying. Hopefully that you get something from it of value. And do you have any more comments, Kalli, for
Nope,
semester
I'm all good.
startup?
We should get back to work. We probably have
All right,
one.
yeah, I do have some tickets I need to get to. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye.